Good evening, dear friends. Today I invite you on an amazing journey into the depths of the human mind, into a world of philosophy that will overturn your understanding of what it means to be smart, and perhaps forever change your perspective on life. Our tale begins in an ancient, mysterious corner of Europe, where, under the veil of fog and age-old legends, a thought was born, a thought capable of revealing a secret that centuries have kept silent. The secret of the great Arthur Schopenhauer, a philosopher whose words sound like a prophecy. You will never want to be smart again, and these words are delivered with both tragedy and astonishing wisdom. Many years ago, in a small town where narrow streets witnessed both joy and sorrow, there lived a young man named Mikhail, whose soul burned with a desire for knowledge, like a bright bonfire illuminating the night sky. Mikhail was gifted. His mind shone like stars in a cloudless night, and he always thirsted for truth, but fate arranged for his path to lead him to Schopenhauer's teachings. One day, wandering through a musty old library filled with ancient books and forgotten secrets, he discovered a dusty edition in which every page pulsed with wisdom and bitterness, and every word sounded like a whisper from the past, warning against an excessive pursuit of reason. Sitting by the window, where the soft light of the setting sun touched the yellowed pages, Mikhail read, "To be smart means to know what pain, suffering, and disappointment are, and this knowledge can shatter even the strongest soul." These words pierced his heart, and he felt his inner world begin to tremble, as if before him had opened a bottomless ocean of suffering, in which even the brightest dreams drown. Mikhail began to wonder why the deeper he delved into his studies, the more darkness he uncovered, how behind every truth lies an insoluble dilemma, and whether perhaps the pursuit of knowledge turns into a burden rather than a gift. He observed how his thoughts, like birds, soared into the heavens, leaving behind a trail of troubling questions that gave no rest to his soul. Thus began a journey full of doubts and torments, yet also great revelations. Along his path, like-minded souls appeared, people striving for the light of knowledge. But soon they realized that behind the brilliance of reason also lurked its dark side. Everyone who dared plunge into the depths of philosophical reflection, like a traveler in the night, sought answers only to find new questions that left wounds on the heart. For truth, as it turned out, can be too bitter. Immersing himself in the labyrinths of the mind, Mikhail realized that to be smart means to bear the burden of understanding the world, a burden capable of crushing even the brightest hopes. And he began to doubt whether knowledge is a curse rather than a blessing. He remembered how in his childhood he dreamed of a world full of wonders, where every new day brought joy. But now, having come to know the imperfections of existence, he felt only emptiness and the bitterness of lost illusions. In the silence of a lonely night, when the stars seemed especially cold and distant, Mikhail made a fateful decision that changed his life forever. He chose to abandon the endless pursuit of knowledge that brought nothing but pain, and instead to seek that fragile harmony where mind and heart can coexist in a world free from excessive burden. This choice was not a renunciation of wisdom, but a quest for a true life in which every moment is filled with meaning, where even the slightest joy can overshadow the darkness accumulated by years of disappointment. Within each of us, dear listeners, an eternal dilemma ripens: the desire to know and the urge to avoid the pain that accompanies such knowledge. Schopenhauer taught that the mind, like a double-edged sword, brings both light and darkness, and its secret lies in the ability to wield this sword without letting it cut the very soul. In this contradiction lies the true beauty of life, which is not in the accumulation of facts, but in the ability to live, to love, to forgive, and to savor every moment, even if tinged with pain. Years passed, and as Mikhail gained experience, he understood more clearly: true intelligence is not the sum of bookish knowledge, but the ability to feel, to empathize, to see the world in all its colors, despite the dark shades that occasionally envelop us. He realized that being smart, according to Schopenhauer, is a burden not everyone can bear, and that true strength lies in choosing moments of silence when the mind rests and the heart expresses what words cannot convey. Thus, before you unfolds a secret that has stirred the minds of great thinkers. Perhaps you have never wondered why the pursuit of knowledge sometimes brings pain. Why a mind that should be a source of strength becomes a source of endless disappointment. The answer is simple and at the same time complex. Reason exposes the truth, and this truth is not always beautiful. Every thought, every discovery is a step into the unknown, where behind apparent clarity lies an abyss of doubts. And it is in this abyss that true freedom ripens. If only we learn to value not the knowledge itself, but the wisdom that comes with accepting life in all its fullness. Perhaps that is why many great minds retreated into the shadows, leaving behind a world full of questions and unsolvable mysteries. Listening to this story, you may experience mixed feelings, the bitterness of loss and the sweetness of realizing that life is not only a search for truth, but also the ability to rejoice in every moment, even if tinged with sorrow. Schopenhauer left us a lesson. To be smart means to bear responsibility for one's soul, for one's perception of the world, and this responsibility demands a courage that is not given to everyone. Today, as the world changes at an incredible pace, as the knowledge flows abundantly, we must remember that not everything that glitters is gold, and not every endowed mind brings happiness. Choose your path consciously, listen to your heart, and do not let cold logic overshadow the warmth that emanates from the depths of your soul. For therein lies the true secret that life presents. A secret that unveils the truth yet requires humility and self-love. For as the great thinker once said, true knowledge begins with the acknowledgement of one's own limitations. So, dear friends, allow me to assure you, wisdom, like a great treasure, demands sacrifices, and every morsel of knowledge can be a blessing or become a burden. In a world where information flows incessantly, we often forget the simplicity of emotions, that the true wealth of the soul is measured not by the number of words learned, but by the ability to live each moment, feeling its fullness and depth. Embracing this understanding, Mikhail began seeking answers not only in books, but also in simple conversations. In the silence of nature, in the melody of the wind whispering ancient secrets of existence. He learned to listen not only to the sounds of the external world, but also to the voice of his own soul, which said that every moment is precious, that every encounter is a gift, and that the truth hidden behind the veil of reason is so near if we dare to surrender to its flow. It was this realization that brought him peace, allowing him to forget the endless hustle and anxieties associated with the quest for absolute truth. Step by step, he found that fragile harmony which, like the morning dew on petals, renewed his soul, bestowing freshness and hope. And although his path was strewn with thorns, he never regretted the journey, for it was in the struggle and doubts that he discovered the true meaning of existence. We often strive for knowledge, forgetting that sometimes ignorance is a blessing, and that the simplicity of thought can open the gates to a happiness we never dreamed of. Mikhail's story is a hymn to the human spirit, capable of embracing life in all its manifestations, joy and sorrow, light and darkness. His journey reminds us that being smart is not merely about understanding the world, but about realizing that every truth has its price, and that sometimes, to find inner peace, one must free oneself from the burden of endless questions. When all thoughts merged into one, and the last sounds of words fell silent, a profound silence enveloped the moment, a silence in which one could hear the echo of ancient wisdom transmitting the warmth of millennia. And this silence, like a comforting blanket, wrapped around everyone who dared to gaze into the abyss of their inner world. May this story remain with you as a quiet reminder that even in a world full of knowledge, there is room for dreams, for sincere feelings, and for endless love of life. May every word of this tale become a guiding star, illuminating the path through the dark nights of doubt, and bestowing hope for a bright future where mind and heart find harmony, and every moment lived becomes a precious gem in the treasury of your soul.